there's a Harry Potter series coming out, and the studio thought it would be a fantastic idea to completely change the look of a fan favorite character, to take the very creepy, pale skin, pasty, black-haired, goth-looking vampire guy who straight up looks like a freaking alternate version of Spock, a gothic-looking, pasty-ass Vulcan weird-looking person who bears a creepy resemblance to Dragul, and, turn him into a dark-skinned puppy dog personality type dude. Like, she still looks like her. Now look, I'm always fascinated as to why they choose to do this. Like, why take an already established character, swap their entire aesthetic, and only ever make them Afro descent? It's never Asian descent. It's never Hispanic descent. It's just, or Latino. It's just this one group over and over. But you cannot convince me that someone in these studios doesn't low-key hate black people and isn't setting them up as a target for unnecessary backlash. Like, how do you take this clearly unsettling coffin-like character and then turn him into the complete opposite and then act surprised if people get mad? It's almost like they're trying to create controversy, and I refuse to believe it's an accident at this point. And before anyone starts crying racism, let me stop you right there, because black people hate this too. And I don't just mean a few here and a few there. You're always gonna have those. Okay, yeah, you're always gonna have those people who are fine with getting whatever crumbs these studios throw at them. They're happy over the moon to take existing characters instead of demanding original ones, but let's be honest, a lot of black people, and I mean a lot of them, cannot stand this.
Well, the dumbasses did it. They actually race swapped Snape to be black. You know, a character that's vividly described in the books as being thin, having sallow skin, a long crooked nose, and black greasy hair. When they heard black and greasy, they must have thought, oh, let's cast a nigga in this role. It's so insulting, not only to the character of Snape, but to the actor that's going to be betraying him as well, because he is going to get so much shit thrown his way because y'all gave him a lazy race swap just because he's black. This backhanded way of representation going, here you go, little here, you can be represented in Harry Potter too. Let's just race swap a character, the laziest form of representation, and give it to you. Here, clap for us, niggas. You just lost all the goodwill that you had going into the show because you want a fucking virtue signal. I'm out of the show, and you just lost me and a majority of the people who are going to watch it because you want a race swap. Prepare for Ron to be turned black because, he's the poorest one in the wizarding community, and he's a ginger. Rearrange the letters in the word ginger, and you'll see why they race swap him.
Wow. Oh my God. Wait, hold on. Wait. Bro, you can't. I'm telling you, this is a little too coincidental. Wow. Damn. Huh. Almost like it's a big key inside joke with these studios, right? Because I'm wondering, like, why is it only ever red hair? Okay, it's not only, but most of the time it's red-haired characters. And they don't put other ethnicities in there, just black people. What are you trying to say, Hollywood? Well, we already know Hollywood's racist as fuck. It's just really funny how they try to pretend that they're not, while underhandedly, backhandedly, proclaiming from the mountaintops that they are. And people can't still see this? And I 100% believe these studios know exactly what they're doing. They know what they're doing because there's a large group of black people, especially black Americans, who are already hyper aware of how the media pits everybody against them. So what do these studios do? They weaponize that sensitivity. They stir the pot, they make these ridiculous casting changes, and then they sit back and they watch the chaos unfold as they wrap their arms behind their head. And when people get mad, they turn around and act like us, the audience, and everybody else, including the black people that have a problem with it, are the problem. And I've talked about this many times before, but I swear to God, people will just see my thumbnail, not even watch the freaking video, and assume I'm saying the complete opposite of what I'm actually saying in the goddamn video. And here's another thing that pisses me the fuck off, all right? Whenever they put a dark-skinned black woman, I mean very dark-skinned, we're not talking about Zendaya, right? Let's not play games. They always, usually, like 98% of the times, they make her either hyper-masculine, and you know what I mean when I say that, so stop playing, gay, or just straight up unbearable. Remember Amber from Invincible? By the way, Derek did a really good job on this with his breakdown of it. Long Beach Griffey as well, but they did tone her down in the later seasons. I will give them that. Later on, they toned her down when they realized people were calling them out and saying, okay, so why did you make her black and unbearable and disgusting? And the white Amber, which was the original Amber, super sweet, best girlfriend ever, super understanding. It made it that much more painful when she and Mark split up. oh no, let's make her black, make her angry, make her a narcissist, make her horrible, make her selfish. I mean, let's be real, let's be honest. The Robin Hood show, remember that? They did the same thing with her. Look at basically any modern show at this point.
I told you.
How about this?
Trixie does not do the giggly-headed, nail-painting, hair-braiding, boy-liking, like popcorn-nibbling flim-flam.
It's a trope that's so ubiquitous that it affects our everyday expectation of how black women should act, be they real or fictional. She's known for her snaps, her neck turning, her anger, her pointed, witty commentary, and that over-the-top accent.
Now, if I write my name on a bag of Funyuns, it ain't your Funyuns.
And this is from Angel Manson's video. You can go check it out, the sassy black woman trope. But you can see the people's reception here. The women can't be soft. Especially if it's a dark-skinned female in modern times. She cannot be soft. She can't be feminine. She definitely cannot have a loving romance with a man. And before anybody twists my words, no, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with gay people, but why is it every single time there's a very dark-skinned woman that shows up, she's either angry, rude, or aggressive, or gay? Like, they're really out here perpetuating that stereotype and acting like they're doing black people a favor. It's actually insane and very insulting. And like this person says, I just want more soft-spoken, feminine, introverted black women in media that I can relate to. Thank you. Then on the flip side, you got very dark-skinned black men. And what do? They either turn them into thugs, drug dealers, or flamboyantly gay. Like, why is that the only representation? The only ones? Like, what is actually going on? And how are people not seeing this for what it is? It's softcore racism. And the worst part is these studios hide behind this plausible deniability. They set this up, they sit back, and they know the audience are gonna fight it out, and it makes it seem as though, oh, the fans are racist, when in reality, black people are speaking up about this too. They just ignored them. And I don't wanna hear the excuse, oh, this is just how black characters have always been portrayed. No, it's not. Look at what our grandparents and grandparents, or parents, and our grandparents had, and even our great-grandparents. If you actually go back and you look at things like what my husband's making me watch, all the old Star Trek shows, there was so much representation there from black people and other races or other ethnicities. I hate saying races. We're all one race. But it's so weird how they make it seem like in the past there wasn't any representation when people actually had better representation and more representation than what they're having now.
Whoa, hey! Guys, the cops outside.
What?
No, I just kidding. I'm just playing.
Well, what are you doing?
Shows like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, The Cosby Show, and even The Family Matters, they had successful, well-rounded black families. They weren't all thugs. They weren't aggressive. They weren't a bunch of stereotypes. They were classy, wholesome, and normal people. They could still have their own cultures and traditions without every woman being the angry, sassy stereotype and every man being hyper-aggressive drug dealers. And I showcased this also with the clip that I had used back at the time when I was doing something similar in terms of topic by Michael Bancroft, as you can see here on my screen. And yet here we are with modern studios regressing and doing the same bullshit, but they're only doing it to black people. Where's this same energy for Asian characters? Where's this energy for Indians or Latinos? Oh, that's right. It's only black people that get this treatment. I wonder why. People wake up. And the thing is, if these studios actually wanted to be more inclusive, or if they're trying to adhere to some kind of law or internal mandate about adding more non-white characters, why not just make a new character like they did with Daryl Dixon? I know it's a crazy idea, but instead of hijacking an already established character and changing everything about them, essentially turning them into an entirely different person while still calling them the same name, they could just introduce someone new who actually fits the vision that they were going for. And before anyone starts acting like this is an impossibility or something, The Walking Dead did it. They did it multiple times. They didn't feel the need to randomly change Rick or Daryl's entire identity to make them more diverse. I mean, Daryl was a new character, whatever. But the main characters I'm talking about, they just created new characters and it worked. And to be honest, like, these people already hate J.K. Rowling anyway. They're out here actively trying to erase her from her own franchise. So it's not like they'd be against adding a completely new character to the story. If anything, it would let them claim some kind of creative high ground. And like, if they hate her so much, why are you even using her stuff? But anyway, also, just saying, non-white doesn't mean only black people. Like, these people do realize that, right? There are plenty of other groups out there, Korean, Japanese, Spanish, any Latino, Puerto Rican, Guyanese, like indigenous people who rarely get thrown a bone in these situations. But no, it's always the same exact thing that they do. They take an already known black and white character, sometimes literally, and they just, hey, let's just turn off the lights, because they know it's going to cause backlash. They know. Don't make them seem as though they're naive. Don't even for a second fall for that freaking lie. They know what they're doing.
Is this needed? Now, I'm not a Harry Potter stan at all, but I do have an opinion whereby I just think it's not needed. It's not needed. I feel like the character is white. It's okay for the character to stay white. And in this current climate, he's going to receive a lot of abuse. I just don't think it's worth it. But my husband has a different view, as he always does. Go on, Latif.
Do you know what, yeah? Before, I would always be on the stance of, nah, you know what? Keep everything the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know me already. Mm-hmm. I'm a big James Bond fan, innit?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, we know.
So, in terms of when people were saying you make James Bond black, I didn't want that person in.
Yeah, yeah.
Because for me, there's no need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, James Bond. He's white. Yeah,
it's like
fine.
So it's like now doing a Harry Potter. We all know and love Harry Potter as a white boy that wears glasses. That's what we know and love.
Yeah, yeah.
To change that is unnecessary.
Well, it's not Harry Potter himself, it's Snape.
Yeah, I get it, but I'm just using that as an example. I'm just saying it doesn't need to happen.
And then they can play victim if people complain, because like, oh, it's because he's black. See, watch, y'all open your mouths because he's black, right? Like, if you really want to add representation, if you really want to be inclusive, don't take shortcuts. Just write a good new character. But no, that would require effort.
So usually I am all for black people getting roles, but I'm gonna really need to see Snape played by a greasy white man. Give the people what they want, and that is a greasy white man.
And some people are saying, well, what if they can't, right? Because of some weird legal or contractual reason, then why is it so crazy to just adhere to the source material, which in this case is the movies? Like, seriously, why is that so hard? As I've said before in other videos, I had no problem with the race swapping in House of the Dragon when they changed the Valerians. And that's because we hadn't seen them in an on-screen representation before. I totally understand why book readers are upset, and their feelings are valid. I'm not gonna say they're not, because they already knew what those characters were supposed to look like. They were already introduced to all the world building and lore, so I understand that. But when you're changing mediums, like with the How to Train Your Dragon series, there's a little bit more flexibility. And in the case for House of the Dragon, it actually worked for the story very well. It made sense, and they also acted their asses off. But here, we're talking about Harry Potter. The movies are already a visual medium. They're iconic. Professor Snape, who was played by the legendary Alan Rickman, is one of the most well-known and beloved characters in that entire franchise. People already have a clear mental image of him because they saw him for a decade. I'm sure the new actor is really talented. I'm not even saying he won't act well in the role. Look at him. Look at him in this. He's acting his ass off. Like, he clearly has the acting chops for this from what I've seen of him. But he simply does not fit the character. And that's a problem. One of the biggest things about Snape that made him creepy and unsettling and memorable was the way he looked. This guy does not give me that, unless they're gonna put a hell of a lot of makeup on this guy. Look at him. I look at him and I'm like, he's so cute. He doesn't look like Snape typically, but he also looks freaking adorable. Like, it's like putting Childish Gambino in a role like this. There's just some people who don't have that unsettling look, and he doesn't. Maybe he can act like that and make himself look like that, but bro, Snape was pale and creepy and vampiric. I don't think it's a coincidence that they had someone play an individual who looks like he had never seen sunlight in his freaking life. He wasn't supposed to have a warm, soft puppy dog features. His whole presence was supposed to be off-putting, including the way that he looked. This was for a reason. The entire package is what made him so effective. See, imagine having this dude dressed in all black with really black hair and this floating white ghost-like face coming in the dark. Like, it's just, and I'm with everyone else. If they really wanted a new Snape, why didn't they choose Adam Driver, bro? He would have been perfect. Like, not trying to really, insult him. Like, I'm not trying to, he looks unsettling. Like, he first thing I noticed when I saw him for the first time, I was like, Jesus, like, this sounds really bad. But you know what I'm trying to say. There's just some people that have those freaking faces where you're like, damn, you'd make a great monster in Hollywood. And someone might come up to them and say that, and they can either be very offended by it or say, well, give me money to play it then. And guess what? They do. He looks very unsettling. He has this naturally gaunt, brooding look, a very long face, and okay, he's kind of cute here, but still, he's got that, like, if he was walking down the street towards me and he had that face, I'd be like, I think I might cross the street now. Like, that's the kind of face that he wears. And I know he's not trying to look like that. Some people just have that natural face that's creepy. He even has that deep, slow voice that could easily have been tweaked to match Snape's eerie, measured way of how he talks.
So when I actually got paid to be an actor, I don't know why. Again, well, I do know why, because I wanted a pair of Jordans.
He looks like a Snape. He could be Snape's son, bro. He could be his brother. Like, if someone told me that the dude on the left is the younger version of the dude on the right, and I didn't do any research, I'd believe them. And you could train him to have the accent. Throw a little pale makeup on him, give him the greasy black hair, and boom, perfect casting. Not that hard. That's what people used to do. They used to cast people who look like the characters, and people would have loved it because it actually respects what made Snape such an unnerving presence in the first place. And Adam Driver, I don't know if he's as good an actor as the person that they chose, but they could work with him. But nope. Instead, they went the complete opposite direction and they swapped him out for someone who has none of the physical traits that made Snape.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Lord. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God.
And if people are going to say, oh, it's just about casting the best actor for the job, really? Then why does that only ever seem to go one way? What, are they going to give Hermione Korean actresses now, or give Ron black or brown hair? No? Exactly. This is why it feels like a setup. It's not just about casting diversely or modernizing the story. It's about deliberately antagonizing the fan base because they know exactly what kind of reaction they're going to get. Because, to be honest, when people inevitably express frustration, the studios are just going to turn around and gaslight everybody and act like the audience is just a bunch of racists who can't handle change. They want that controversy because it keeps them in the headlines. It's a distraction from the fact that they can't actually write anything new or creative. It's lazy, it's predictable, it's transparent, it's so obvious at this point. And look, I get it. Actors, they gotta eat too. I'm not knocking anyone for taking a job, but at some point, there's something to be said about having pride in the roles that you accept. Because let's be real, there's a lot of people that don't catch the shade that these studios are throwing. They're made to feel like it's this huge honor. You're being chosen for something super great. You're the chosen one. Chosen one! Hurry! I'm coming! But the truth is, it's not an honor, it's a trap. And this is a lose-lose situation. Let's say that this actor that they chose, right, can act his ass off, which I believe that he can. Let's say he's like super talented. I mean, he's handsome, he's charismatic, he's everything an actor should be. Wonderful. But the second the race swapping controversy starts, which, let's be honest, the studios know what's going to come because they know they fucked up. The studio's just going to shrug and let him take all the heat. They do not care. They just throw him into the fire and walk away. They do the same thing every single time. And now this man is stuck in a position where he's not just dealing with criticism of the casting choice, but he becomes the face of backlash. That's how his big send-off is. And if he decides to speak up and say he's a victim of racism because of all the negativity, it only makes it worse because now the conversation shifts away from, hey, why are they disrespecting the source material, which in this case, I don't care about the book. Look at what the movies, we already have on-screen representation and establishment of this character. It turns into, wow, look at all these bigots attacking this actor. So congratulations, you didn't just make this dark-skinned man a target, you also set up a narrative to turn him into a victim, which is what Hollywood always does with black people. And that is very cruel. These studios know exactly what they're doing. They're using these actors as pawns in these little PR stunts that they're doing, and it's very disgusting. And if you're sitting there asking yourself, well, why are people so mad? It ain't a big deal. Fair enough. But also, ask yourself why it's not a big deal. Because if you really think about it, don't black actors deserve better than this? If your answer is no, then that's a whole other thing that you need to take inventory of and unpack that. For all the progressive flag waving that these studios do, for all the self-righteous finger pointing at racist audience members, for all the people quick to call anyone criticizing this, a grifter and whatever name that they choose that week. These people do not actually care about black people. Either that, or they're so used to getting the bare minimum that they've convinced themselves it's something to be grateful for. And look, if you're genuinely completely fine with that, then okay, fair, cool. But understand that how people treat you is how you let them treat you. If you let them feed you scraps and call it a feast, they're gonna keep doing it. And eventually, they'll become worse about how they do it. That's just how this works. It might seem like, oh, it's just a character, it's just a casting choice, but it's the principle. A lot of things in life are based on principle. If someone rudely throws money in your face and literally spits on the ground, or the money that they're about to give you before helping you, they stomp on the bills, wipe their ass with it or whatever, and then toss that bill in your face in front of a crowd of people, would that not bother you? Like, even if it's $100 or $1,000, would that not sit not well with you? Even though you're technically getting money and it's free, would you not feel some type of way about how it was given to you? Wouldn't it feel way better if someone actually handed it to you with respect, or that you earned it on your own, instead of it, treating you like an afterthought or treating you like shit? Oh, we're getting money, so it doesn't matter. Really? Does it? That's exactly the difference I'm talking about here. And as adults, we need to recognize this kind of treatment for what it is, because if we don't, people will continue walking all over us.
Snake, say it out loud. How does a black man even get that type of name? Are you crazy? Let's add some more diverse students, teachers, Asians, not named Cho Chang. You feel me? But the main characters like Harry, Ron, Hermione, Dumbledore, you can't just be changing shit. They're snake vibes, you know what I mean? No offense to PE, but it's like, you know what I mean? They kind of look alike.